There's a lot of hype on this new Poco F7. It was released 3 months ago, and still, the phone is very popular in those regions that really consumes and patronize budget mid-range phones. And for sure, Poco F7 is on the radar, but after 3 months of usage, totally tested it on gaming, camera, and even the battery life, is this phone worth it? First, let's talk about all the downside of this phone, and first thing I noticed on all these comparison videos on the camera of Poco F7 is 1. Lack of the telephoto, 2nd is the lack of 4K video recording on selfie camera, and the overall performance is mediocre. I tested this phone with other mid-range phones like Honor 400, Samsung Galaxy A56, and even Xiaomi Phone 2 Pro, and in all these tests, the camera is performing well on the main sensor, but the ultra-wide needs a better sensor. It wasn't so detailed and color accurate. Obviously, the lack of telephoto will hit the zoom capability of this phone, as you will do digital crop after 1x, and if you're into vlogging, of course you will be using the main sensor of this phone most of the time. The second minus is the HyperOS. It's not for everyone. For one, if you scroll down to check the toolbars, you will see that the icons doesn't have a name on them, so you have to memorize which icon is which. Basically, the icon would give you an idea what that is, but if it's the first time using a Poco phone, you might not be able to tell which function it is. Although there are themes that you can download for HyperOS, but the home screen and icons are not scalable, so you are stuck with whatever it is by default. It is a circular icon that looks like coming from a Pixel launcher, but yes, I think the HyperOS is not for everyone. The third downside of Poco F7 is it is big and heavy, and obviously this phone has a bigger battery capacity and a larger screen, and some might prefer a bigger phone, but there's also people who prefer a smaller and lighter phone. This weighs around 215 grams with 6.7-inch display. Mind you, it's very good display with Gorilla Glass Victus protection, but not an LTPO screen. We got Poco Pro and the Ultra, so I feel like the regular Poco F7 should have a smaller size to cater to those consumers who like smaller phones. Anyway, if they like bigger phones, again, they can upgrade to the Pro and the Ultra. The fourth downside is acceptable, which is the updates. Although it will update for the next 6 years, but the total upgrade is only for 4 years. It's still acceptable for many who, by the way, will only pay a portion compared to a flagship phones out there. But again, at this point, even the mid-range Pixel, iPhone, and even Samsung will provide you longer software support, so why not Poco F7? And lastly is the confusing battery capacity. So if you're living in India, you will get a higher rated 7500 mAh capacity, but if it's global, you will just actually getting 6500 mAh. It is confusing because someone who is buying this outside India or buying the global version will get a lower rated battery capacity and will still have to pay the same price as an Indian variant. Poco phones might be selling more on the Indian market, but again, they have to catch up globally to market their phone. It feels like for global consumers, we're lagging behind and on a second thought. Now, there's a lot of positive or upsides on this phone, but we will talk about all the things that stands out on this phone. It's an excellent build quality to begin with. It has IP68 water and dust resistance, so you are assured that you will have waterproofing on this phone compared to last generation. You don't want to ruin this phone, especially if you purchase a special gaming edition. It is protected by Gorilla Glass 7i, not the Victus, but still 7i is better than Gorilla Glass 5 or Gorilla Glass 3, which some mid-range phones are still using until now. It will have better scratch resistance. And if you purchase a special gaming edition, you would see a decal design at the back to show you the internals of the phone. So it's kinda cool, to be honest. And Xiaomi also added a case on the package, and that's an extra plus points for Poco F7. The next upside of this phone is the speed and performance. Definitely the biggest selling point of this phone. It has Snapdragon 8s Gen 4 with Adreno 825 GPU, and this combination is a stunner considering the price of this phone. I can play any games. This is actually my beater gaming phone because I'm actually using iPhone and Samsung as my primary phones. And obviously with the price you pay for these phones, you don't want to burn the battery and get battery replacement after a few months. So Poco F7 became my resident gaming phone every day. And by having a combination of this plus the 12 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of storage on the base model, I can store a lot of games. And the performance doesn't really differ from any other flagship phones out there. This can compete with iPhone 16 and Galaxy S25. The third plus is also on the performance side. This phone has a really good battery life, although I'm using the global version, which only has 6500 mAh battery, still one of the long-lasting gaming phones out there. I have a lot of rugged phones with big battery capacity, but normally they are big and heavy compared to Poco F7, so definitely a device for gaming. I would highly recommend Poco F7. On a full charge, I can probably play 5 to 6 Mobile Legends game on every 20 to 25 minutes. And if not enough, then you can also use the 90 watts charger on this phone to add more if you need to. Our fourth upside is still in the conversation of gaming and even content consumption. This phone has great screen technology. It is a 6.7-inch AMOLED screen with HDR Plus and 120Hz refresh rate. This phone is designed for gaming and watching Netflix or YouTube videos. It supports wideband L1 and stereo speakers, which makes the viewing experience more immersive. Aside from that, this also has 700 nits of manual brightness and it can go as high as 3200 nits outdoors if you do it automatically. And the last upside is the price. I mean, I was surprised when I actually bought this phone. I don't normally review Poco phones in our channel, but this really got my attention because of the specs and what it offers. I bought Poco F7 on Amazon and I was surprised that I can actually buy 3 of these phones on a single iPhone or Galaxy S25. I mean, that speaks a lot about the value of this phone. Overall, I think it's one of the best mid-range phones out there. With its great performance, bright skin, and outstanding battery life, I will choose Poco F7 at any given day.